left, we perform this sinusoidal pulse width modulation simulation in the MATLAB model file. So first we understand the theory. Okay. So in the theory, in the first lecture, we have studied the third method of PWM technique to control the output voltage as well as harmonic control. Okay. So let's again repeat to what is the sinusoidal pulse width modulation technique. So it is the same as like multiple pulse width modulation. We generate the number of pulses per half cycle, like multiple modulation. But the difference is what here? The width of each pulse is modulated in proportional to the amplitude of the sine wave. So as the amplitude of the sine wave increases, the width of the gate pulse is also increases. And as the amplitude of the sine wave decreases, the width of the gate pulse is also reduced. So that is called as a modulation of gate pulse with proportional to the amplitude of the sine wave. Here. So here the gate pulse are generated by comparing the sinusoidal reference signal with the triangular wave. Clear? I already told you that here in this SPWM technique, we take the sinusoidal signal as a reference signal. Clear? In the previous two methods, single pulse width and multiple pulse width modulation, we take the square wave as a reference signal. Here you can see here in the multiple pulse width, here we take the square wave as a reference signal. Same way in the single pulse width modulation technique also. Here, this one. Square wave we take as a reference signal. But here now in this SPWM technique, we take the sine wave as a reference signal. And we compare this sine wave with the triangular wave. Here. So, only this change in this technique, sinusoidal pulse width modulation, because we take the reference signal. So that's why we not make this method is sinusoidal pulse width modulation technique. And the frequency of the reference signal, it means the frequency of the sinusoidal signal that decides the frequency of your output voltage. Suppose you take the 50 Hz sinusoidal voltage as a reference signal. So your output voltage frequency is also same as a reference wave frequency, which is same as a 50 Hz. Clear? And the ratio of VR by VC, that is called as a modulation index, which controls the magnitude of output voltage. Here VR is what? Peak of your reference signal, this peak of sinusoidal signal, and VC, that is the peak magnitude of your carrier signal, which is your triangular signal. Here. And number of pulses per half cycle, that depends upon the carrier frequency. Number of pulses per half cycle, that is depend upon carrier frequency. As the carrier frequency is increases, the number of pulses per half cycle, that is increasing. Yeah. As we see in the multipulse modulation, this equation P is equal to Fc divided by 2F0. Here P is what? Number of pulses per half cycle. Fc is the frequency of carrier wave, and F0, that is the frequency of fundamental signal. Suppose if you take the frequency of carrier signal, Fc is equal to 1000 Hz, and F0 fundamental frequency is 50 Hz. Yeah. So that is how much pulse you get in the one half cycle. P is equal to 10. 1000 divided by 2 into 50. Yeah. So number of pulses in that case you get 10 pulses. Yeah. So by this way you can calculate the number of pulses per half cycle depend upon the frequency of carrier signal. So this 3 point is common in any of the PWM techniques. Frequency of reference signal that decides the frequency of output voltage. Ratio of VR by VC, that is called as modulation index, and which controls the magnitude of output voltage. And third one, number of pulses per half cycle, that depend upon the frequency of carriers. Yeah, that is common for all the PWM techniques. Now let's understand this sinusoidal pulse width modulation again. So as we can see that here, take the sine wave as a reference signal. This one is a reference signal, and we compare with the high frequency triangular wave. Yeah. Logic is saying when your reference signal is more than this triangular wave, at that time you generate the output voltage. So you can see that at the starting, the reference signal is more than triangular wave, only this duration time, so you get the output voltage of small bit. But as you move from 0 to 90 degree, as the magnitude of sine wave is increasing, you can see that you get the more period of time where your reference signal is more than your triangular wave. You can see here, this width is large, and at the 90 degree, you get the maximum width of the output voltage. So as you move from 0 to 90 degree, you can see the width of output voltage increasing, because sine wave is increasing. And as you move from 90 to 180, the width of output voltage is decreasing. Okay. So that is called as a synchronization of gate pulse or output voltage with the your reference signal. Okay. So it means here the gate pulse is generated with the modulation of sine wave. That's why this sentence is written here. The width of each pulse is modulated in proportional to the amplitude of the sine wave. Okay. That you can see here. Same way in the negative cycle from 180 to 270, sine wave is increasing, but in negative direction. But you can see that the width of output voltage that is also increasing, but in the negative direction. Okay. And at the 270, that is the maximum. And 270 to 360, magnitude of sine wave is decreasing, so width of this output voltage also decreasing. Okay. So this is a basic concept of sinusoidal pulse width modulation technique. So what are the advantages of this method? So as we increase the number of pulses, the lower order harmonic is cancelled out, but higher order harmonic is increased. So as we discussed in the first lecture, that as the lower order harmonics are as the lower order harmonics are cancelled or reduced, what will happen? The size of the filter required is less, so it becomes less costly. And if the higher order harmonics are increased, so what will happen? The frequency is increased, so size of the filter will reduce because L and C is inversely proportional to frequency. All of you understand this point? Why this filter size reduces? By removing the lower order harmonics. All of you understand this point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second advantage that same as the higher order harmonics can be filtered out easily because you require the small size of the filter. So cost of this small size of the filter is less. So that is another advantage. But the disadvantage of this method is that as we increase the number of pulses per half cycle, what will happen? Switching loss will increase. Same as the multiple PWM techniques. The same way here in this method also, the disadvantage is that as you increase the number of pulses, you require to turn on and turn off the switches frequently at high frequency, so that switching loss increases. So ultimately, that reduces the efficiency of the equipment. Okay. So as I told you that you need to compromise between the efficiency and harmonic content in your output voltage. Clear? So suppose if you want to design the inverter for higher efficiency, so select the frequency of the carrier signal in such a way that you get the as low as the number of pulses per half cycle, so that the switch is turn on and turn off at a less rate. Clear? So that switching losses become less. Otherwise, your efficiency of the inverter decreases if the number of pulses is high. If you want to design the inverter for less harmonic content, then you go for higher number of pulses. But at the same time, efficiency of the inverter will reduce. So based on your application, you choose the technique, PWM technique, to control the voltage as well as control the harmonic. Clear? Now let's see the case of overmodulation. What is called as the overmodulation? So as we know that in the PWM technique, all the PWM technique, whether it is sinusoidal single pulse width modulation or multiple pulse width, or it is a sinusoidal pulse width modulation technique. In all the technique, one thing is remember that the peak magnitude of the modulating signal is always less than the peak of carrier signal. But suppose in the peak magnitude of modulating signal, it means your reference signal is more than the peak magnitude of carrier signal. So in that case, your PWM inverter is operated in the overmodulation. And in that case, your output voltage increases, but harmonic content becomes increased. Yeah. So never operate your inverter in the overmodulation case. So always the peak magnitude of a reference signal or modulating signal always less than the peak magnitude of the carrier signal. Clear? That you can see here in this figure also. Peak of this reference signal AR, this one is less than the peak of this triangular carrier. Okay. So that condition must be fulfilled, then you can operate this inverter in the sinusoidal PWM technique. So that is a case of overpopulation. Now let's see that what are the different types of the sinusoidal Boltzmann modulation technique. Yeah. So there are two types in this case. One is bipolar technique and another is unipolar PWM technique. Yeah. So let's one by one understand both this technique and compare both the technique and finally give the conclusion that which one of this sinusoidal pulse width modulation technique is better than other and why. And we justify this answer. Okay. So let's see that first bipolar PWM technique. So in the bipolar PWM technique, our inverter circuit is as it is. This is a single phase bridge inverter, full bridge inverter. You can see that here. Here we provide the DC supply. But here we put the capacitor. The function of this capacitor is just to filter out the harmonics which can be injected from the load to source side. Clear? So sometimes harmonics are generated at the load side that can be injected to the supply side also. Clear? So to provide the fixed DC voltage with less harmonic content, we provide the capacitor at the input side. So that capacitor provides the fixed DC voltage as well as that filter out the harmonic which is back from the load to source side. Okay, so that is the function of this capacitor. Same as the inverter bridge, there are four switches S1, S2, S3 and S4. As we know that in the first positive output cycle, we must turn on the S1 and S2 simultaneously and then S3 and S4 simultaneously, so that we get the square wave type of the output voltage. Now let's see in this case bipolar technique. What is the logic to generate the output voltage to reduce the harmonic as well as to control the magnitude of output voltage? Okay. So let's see that in this method, you will see here, we compare the sinusoidal reference signal. This is your sinusoidal signal, reference signal, compare with the high frequency triangular wave. Okay. What is the frequency of this triangular wave? You can calculate this frequency of this triangular wave. Yes, anyone can calculate the frequency of this triangular wave? Yes, anyone? This is a one cycle of your reference signal. In this one cycle of reference signal, how many cycle of this triangular wave is completed?
15.
Yes. Sorry.
15.
No. What is the frequency of triangular wave? See, frequency, suppose the frequency of this reference signal is 50 Hz. So what is the frequency of this triangular wave? Calculate the peak of each triangle. How many cycles are completed in this one cycle of reference signal? From this point to this point. How many? Yes?
750 Hz.
750. No. Calculate the number of peak. To complete the calculate the number
15
of
peaks.
See
15
here.
peaks are there.
Sorry. Yes, 15 peaks are there, but how many complete cycle? See, here you can see that this is a positive triangle and this is a negative triangle. Okay, so here one cycle of triangle complete. Here at this point. Yes or no? You can see my this arrow here. One triangle start from here, complete positive here, and complete negative here. So that becomes a one cycle of triangle. Clear? So how many these complete cycle are there in this one complete cycle of a reference signal? Calculate. This is 1, this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Clear? So what is the frequency? 15 multiply 50? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So how much?
750.
750.
It is 750, yes or no? All of you?
Yes, sir.
So here the 750 Hz frequency of carrier signal and 50 Hz frequency of your reference signal. The logic is say when your reference signal, the sine wave is greater than triangular wave, at that time generate the gate pulse. So you can see here from this point to this point, your reference signal, the sine wave is greater than this triangular wave. So at that time, they generate the gate pulse we call as a VG1. Here, during this interval, the reference is greater than triangular wave, so that generates the gate pulse. So this gate pulse is applied to switch number S1 and S2 simultaneously. In the bipolar technique, both the switches S1 and S2 turn on simultaneously. Clear? So this VG1 gate pulse, this one, applied to switch number 1 and 2 simultaneously. So you get the one positive cycle at the output side and complete the cycle. Clear? So you can see that here two voltages are given. One is VAN and another is VBN. You can see here in the circuit diagram, this is the A terminal of your load and this is the B terminal of your load. So here we first measure the potential between A terminal and the neutral terminal of your supply. This is the neutral. So if you measure the voltage between A and neutral terminal, you get the positive voltage when S1 and S2 is on. Yes or no? When S1 and S2 is on, if you measure the voltage between A and neutral, you get the positive voltage. Yes or no? And the magnitude of pulse is what? Same as the supply voltage. Clear? So you get this VAN here. You can see that between 0 to this interval, your gate pulse is 0. So S1 and S2 is off. So you get the 0 voltage. You can see that. But when both are on, when you apply this gate pulse VG1 to S1 and S2, during this period, you get the positive voltage VAN. Clear? Now, you can see that next pulse is VG3. So VG3 is what? Exactly complementary of VG1. It means when S1 and S2 is on, at that time S3 and S4 must be in off condition. Clear? So here you can see in this diagram, S1 and S2 is on during this interval. So between this interval from start 0 to this point, S1 and S2 is off. It means at that time apply the gate pulse to S3 and S4. This S3 and S4 switch. So when you turn on this S3 and S4 by this gate pulse, you get the voltage at B terminal. You can see that the current start from here, positive S3, B terminal. Here is the load through A terminal and S4 switch and neutral. So if you measure the voltage between B and neutral, you get the positive voltage. You can see here, current start from here P S3. So this positive come at the B point, and through the S4, it is connected with the negative terminal. Clear? So you can see that in the VBN is also positive. Voltage at point B with respect to neutral, it is positive. Clear? So it means VAN and VBN both are complementary. You get VAN when S1 and S2 is on, and you get the VBN when S3 and S4 is on, when you apply the VG3 gate pulse. Clear? Or another way you can remember this, here logic is what? When your reference signal is more than triangular wave, at that time S1 and S2 is on, and exactly opposite, when your reference signal is less than a triangular wave, at that time S3 and S4 is on. It means you get the VG3. So you can see that the gate pulse of VG1 and VG3 both are exactly complementary. Understand this one? All of you can see this waveform. When you get VG1, at that time VG3 is 0. Both are complementary. Now you get the VAN, VBN, that is also complementary. It means when VAN is maximum, VBN is 0. You can see here. Here when VAN 0, we get VBN maximum. But now we have required what voltage across the loop. Where load is connected, you can see that load is connected between A and B terminal. It means you must measure the VAB. So VAB is what? VAN minus VBN. Clear? So here it is VAN. Here that is a VBN. So between 0 to this angle, your VAN is 0 minus VBN. VBN is positive, but sign is negative. So you get this magnitude, but in negative polarity. You can see here, you get this VBN voltage at the starting. So that is a VAB voltage. VAB is again repeat, it is VAN minus VBN. Here. So first interval between this point, VAN is 0, only VBN is present, so you get the minus VBN. Here, it means your VAB is equal to minus VBN. Same way here, you get VAN in this duration, but VBN is 0. So your VAB is equal to what? VAN. You can see. So it means that you get the square wave type of the output across the loop by this bipolar technique. Or you can say that here you get the positive as well as negative magnitude of the voltage in positive cycle as well as in negative cycle of the output. So that's why it is called as the bipolar technique. You can see that at a time in one cycle of your output, you get positive magnitude, positive pulse as well as negative pulse. But you take the average between 0 to pi, you get the positive magnitude. Because you can see the width of the positive pulse upper side that is higher than the width of this negative pulse. So if you take the average of each and every point at each and every angle and you join this point, so average you get like this sine wave. You can see here inside this square wave I do this sine wave. So this sine wave is nothing but I joining the average point at each and every angle. Clear? So average between positive and negative magnitude. So always give me a positive magnitude between 0 to pi angle. Clear? Exactly opposite in the negative cycle, you can see that after this pi degree, you can see the width of VG3 that is increasing. It means gate pulse for the switch S3 and S4 is increasing. It means more number of times S3 and S4 is remain on condition. Clear? So you get the more width of output voltage in negative direction. You can see here after this pi, you get the large width in negative direction as compared to the positive direction. Clear? So if you take the average after this pi to 2 pi, you get the sine wave but in negative direction like this. Clear? So in this case, because you modulate the pulse width with respect to sine wave, so here in this case you get the output more and more near to the sine wave as compared to the single and multiple pulse width modulation technique. So if your output voltage becomes nearer to the sine wave, it means what? The lower order harmonics become less. It means total harmonic because of the lower order harmonic that is reduces, but the higher order harmonic that is increases. So let's now check that what are the higher order harmonics are present in this bipolar technique. And let's see the MATLAB simulation of this. Clear? So let's first see the MATLAB simulation, how we generate this logic in the MATLAB. So first to generate this gate pulse VG1 and VG3, we must require to compare this high frequency triangular wave with the reference signal. Clear? So let's first understand this bipolar technique. All you can see the screen, MATLAB simulation.
Yes, sir.
So here I already simulate this. Let's just understand how we can simulate this. It is a simple single phase bridge inverter. We use the 4 switch S1, S2, S3 and S4. Okay? Now to generate the gate pulse for all the 4 switch using bipolar technique, you can see that here we use the sine wave as a reference signal. Here I set the amplitude 9.5. It means the peak amplitude of my sine wave is 9.5. And the frequency, which is right in the radian per second. Okay. Not directly about 50 hertz. It is not asked in the hertz. It is asked in the radian per second. So write down 2 pi into frequency. Here we generate 50 hertz. So it is 2 pi into 50. Okay. And if you provide the phase radius 0, it means your waveform start from the 0 degree. It means you get first positive cycle and then after you get the negative cycle. Okay. So that you can write in this block of sine. If you want to generate the 60 hertz output at the load side, so your reference signal must be a 60 hertz. So in that case, here set the frequency in radian per second 2 pi into 60. And one thing is, keep in mind that the peak of your this reference signal or sine wave must be less than the peak of carrier signal. Clear? So here you set the 9.5 peak of this reference signal. So peak of the triangular wave that must be more than this. Clear? Then and then you can generate the peak pulse. Clear this point? What are the changes in the sine wave block? क्या आएगा बताने? Clear all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now next is we compare with the triangular wave. So how to generate the triangular wave? So for that, how to get this triangular wave? So first of all of you go into this Simulink library browser. बताने ख्याल से आप कहीं तो जाओ मुझे Simulink library browser पर. मैं लास्ट टाइम समझा ख्याल से कि रिपीट करो. All of you.
सर रिपीट कर दीजिए.
See, go into this here library browser. You can see here below this simulation. You can find this block library browser. Click on this, so you can get this Simulink library browser. Okay. In that, go to the source. Here I have already the source. In this source, you can see that this repeating sequence block is given. This here. So click this block, right click, and add this block in your MATLAB model. Here. So I click here. My model file name is bipolar SPD. So it comes here. But I already have here. If you see that inbuilt, this value set 0 2. Clear? Here you write the time value, and here you write the magnitude of your triangular wave with respect to time. And here I want to generate the triangular wave of 1000 frequency, 1000 hertz frequency. So what thing I need to write in time value and output. Okay. So for that, let's just understand this theoretically. Then after we move for this practically. Now let's just understand this concept. Here I want to generate the triangular wave with the frequency of 1000 kilohertz. Frequency FC, area frequency is 1000 hertz. Clear? Now, suppose I give the name of this point of triangular 0. Give the name of this peak point, this triangular 1. Again 0, give the name 2. This is 3 and this is 4. Here. Frequency is 1000. It means what is the total time here of the one cycle of the triangle? It means 1 by axis, 1 by 1000. Yes or no? So what is the time here? At the starting, obviously it is 0 second. Here. Now what is the time here? What is the time here? That is the fourth part of this time. 1 by x is what? Time duration of this one complete cycle. T is equal to 1 by x. So that is the total time. This is 1 by 1000. So what is the time of this interval? That is the 1/4 of this time. Because there are 4 parts: 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 3 and 4. And all are the equal parts. Clear? So here in this section, you can see that in the simulation, now all of you can see that here. Then look at the time value, repeating sequence block. All of you. All of you can see this repeating table block. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here you write down the time. Here. So here first time is what? 0. So at that time you write the output value was, it is also 0 because at the starting magnitude of the triangle wave is what? 0. Here. Here second time at one point. At one point, what is the magnitude of time? That is the 1/4 of your total period. Here. Then second point, then third point, and fourth point. So here write down in terms of point, but write down in terms of time. So what is the time of each interval? You know time, Lakis? It is how much? Each interval is how much time? 1/4 of total time. Yes or no? What is the total time? 1/1000. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what is the time between two intervals between 0 to 1? It is 1/4000. Yes or no?
50 microseconds.
Yeah, in second it is 15 microsecond. Clear. So you can also write 15 microsecond or you can write 1/4000. So here I write 1/4000. Clear. All of you understand this? Now write down the value at each and every interval. So at 0 time, what is the value? It is 0. Clear. Now at interval 1, it means when a triangular reaches the peak value. You can see here. When we reach the peak value at interval 1. So what is the magnitude? We take the reference signal, peak magnitude Vm is equal to what? 9.5. You see that in the sine wave block, we take the amplitude 9.5. Please remember that Vm must be less than peak of carrier signal. This is the peak of carrier signal, Vc. So here we take the peak of carrier signal 10, more than peak of reference signal. Clear? So that's why here we set this value in this block at 0.1, 10, and then after at second point, what is the magnitude of triangular wave? At second point, at the second point, what is the magnitude of triangular wave?
Zero.
0. So write down the magnitude 0 here. Write down the magnitude 0 here. Then at third point, what is the magnitude? At the third point, what is the magnitude? See here, at the third point, what is the magnitude? Yes? What is the magnitude? At this third point. It is -10. Yes or no? Negativity?
Yes,
If you
sir.
understand or not? If you understand this, you are not. Yes or
Sir,
no?
please repeat it further.
Okay. So here I divide my triangular wave into 5 different intervals. First, starting I give the name 0 interval. At the peak, I give the name. This interval is number 1. When it reach again 0, that interval is 2. When this triangle negative peak, I give this name 3. And this triangle, when I get 0, give the 4. Here. Half of this triangle all the bits remain same. Whatever the time required with 0 to peak, same time is from peak to 0 here. So there are how many parts in one complete cycle of this triangular wave? 4 parts, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. So to generate this triangular wave, first I must write down the time duration with respect to magnitude. What is the magnitude with respect to time? Okay. So here the first time is 0. What is the magnitude of triangular wave? 0. So you can see that the time value are at 0 second and magnitude is also 0 second. Now second, when reach the point 1 here. So at this time, what is the magnitude? First of all, at the point 1, what is the time? How much second or how much microsecond or millisecond? Suppose this is a 1 cycle of a triangular wave and you take the 1000 hertz frequency. So 1 cycle period is what? 1 by 1000. That is the time duration of this here. So what is the time period at this point? 1 by 4000.
1 by 4,000.
So 1 by 4 is what? 1 by 4000. So at this time, when it reaches the point 1, multiply this 1 with the 1 by 4000. So you get the time period at the point 1. Yes or no? So that's why I can see that here I write at point 1 multiply with the 1 by 4000 and at the same time output value is what? In the output value is 10 because it reaches the maximum value. Let's see. Here. Second point, what is the time period? Second time, what is the time period? 2 multiply 1 by 4000. Here. So you can see that here in this time value block, third parameter, third value is 2 and that is multiplied with this 1 by 4000. So that gives the time period at the second interval and the magnitude at the second interval is what? 0 because the triangular magnitude is 0. So this generates this value or this waveform. Okay. Same way at the third point, what is the time duration? 3 multiplied 1 by 4000. You can see here the time value I write 3 in the bracket and multiply with the 1 by 4000. At that time, what is the value? At that time, what is the value? Minus 10. So here I write minus 10. You can see here at this second the magnitude is minus 10, negative peak. And at the fourth interval, here magnitude becomes 0. So here write the magnitude. Here write the magnitude 0. This? Yes or no? Clear?
Yes.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. So by this way you can generate the triangular wave. Clear? And what is the frequency of this triangular wave? 1000 hertz. Same thing I have written here in this block also. You can see that. Clear? So I delete this block. Now our logic is what? Compare the sine wave with the triangular wave. Clear? And you can see that peak of the sine wave Vm is less than the peak of triangular wave. Clear? So that's why here we set the peak of this triangular wave is 10 and the peak of the sine wave is less than that, which is 9.5. Clear? You can take any value below the 10, but always your reference peak is less than the peak of your triangular. Then you can generate the peak. Now it is compared by the logical operator, relational operator, so that you can find here from this logical bit operator. If you click here in this library browser, logical bit operator, you can get this logical operator AND. Yeah? So right click, add this block, so you get AND logical operator. That is given in bit, but you can select any one logic operator on this. You can see that OR, NAND, NOR is given. Here we require the not logical operator, so greater than a logical operator. Clear? But this is a required for the gate pulse generator. We require the relational operator also. So relational operator you can find from here. here, this one. Here. So relational operator is this one. You can see here. So that gives a greater than equal to, less than or equal to, or approximately equal to, all conditions. Okay. Here our logic is what? When your reference signal sine wave is greater than triangular wave, at that time they generate the output. Clear? So you can see that here I take the relational operator with a greater than equal to. Clear? You can select any less than equal to or greater than equal to from here. Like this way. Clear? So here I set the greater than equal to. So the output of this relational operator becomes 1 when your sine wave is greater than your triangular wave. Clear? And this output is applied to which two thyristor? S1 and S2 simultaneously. You can see here in this figure, when your triangle sine wave is higher than this triangular wave, again between these 2 points, that generates the gate pulse VG1. Okay. So that gate pulse is applied to what? Both the switches S1 and S2 simultaneously. Understand this one? All of you? Same way here,
Yes.
in this simulation also you can see that I apply this output of this relational operator to S1 and here this output to S2. It means S1 and S2 both are turned on simultaneously. So that I get the positive output voltage here at the load side. Like this way. I get this positive output voltage at the load side. But when your sine wave is less than your triangular wave, at that time the output of this relational operator is what? 0. So that output I apply to the non-logical operator. So that invert it and complementary signal of this relational operator signal is applied to the S3 and S4 simultaneously. So you can see that through this not logical operator, I apply the gate signal to S4 and S3. Here you can see that S3 and S4 gate signal is remains clear. It means whenever S1 and S2 is on, at that time S3 and S4 is off. But when S3 and S4 is on, S1 and S2 is off. Clear? Understand this concept? This logic? Yes or no? All of you clear? All of you understand or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you can see that here through this mux block, I compare both the signal sine wave and triangular wave. So that you can see here in the scope also. So first input I give to the scope here, that is a combination of both the signal sine wave and triangular wave. And second parameter measure, that is the output of this relational operator. Clear? And third one is the output of this not logical operator. It means that is the gate pulse of S3 and S4. And the second one, that is a gate pulse of S1 and S2. And fourth one I measure, that is the load voltage across the load. You can see here I put the emitter, so put the voltmeter across this resisting load and measure the voltage. And last parameter I measure the current flowing into the load. So I put the emitter in series with the load. So measure the current in the last one. Okay. So in this I take this phi axis. Okay, so here you can see that in this case we measure the 5 parameters. One is comparison between sine wave and repeating sequence or triangular wave through this mux. Second is we measure this output of logical operator. This is the gate pulse of S1 and S2. Third one is output of not logical operator. That is the gate pulse of S3 and S4. And fourth one is output voltage across the load. And fifth one is the load. Clear? So let's run this simulation and check the output voltage. You can see that output voltage is this fourth axis, fourth parameter. Clear? So now you can see that first parameter is the comparison between triangle and sine wave. So you can see that here, comparison. Second is what gate pulse of S1 and S2 switch. So you can see that you get the gate pulse when your sine wave. You can see the red waveform, that is the sine wave reference signal. Here between these 2 points is greater than triangular wave, so you get the gate pulse of S1 and S2 here. Clear? And exactly complementary. It means that the output of not logical operators, that is the gate pulse of S3 and S2. This one. Clear? And this fourth one, that is the output voltage, VAB, across the load. Clear? Initially, you get the negative output voltage because you get the S3 and S4 on. Here S1 and S2 on, so you get the positive. So you get the square wave type of the output voltage, and output current is also in same phase because we take the resistive load. Clear? Now you can see that here what is the difference between this output voltage and multiple pulse modulation techniques output voltage. So difference है हमारा output voltage of this technique and output voltage of multiple pulse modulation. Yes, anyone? What is the difference in this? कोई कैसे? 3 number अनुज. 3 number Anuj.
Sir, I don't know.
Yes, bolo.
I have no idea.
Why? Yes, Anuj. What is the difference between the output voltage of multiple pulse PWM technique and this?
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, the average value more nearer to sine value in this multi-pulse modulation.
See the output of multiple pulse modulation. Let's repeat again. See, this is the output of multiple pulse modulation. Yes, sir. Here you can see that you get the output pulse in the voltage of the same width. Clear? Because you here compare your triangular wave with the square wave. So you get the same width of the gate pulse. So that's why you get the same width of output voltage at the output side. You can see that positive and negative cycle, you get the same width of pulses. But in case of the sinusoidal pulse modulation technique, in this case, you can see here the width of output voltage at different interval is different. Here you can see here. Initially, the width of output voltage is small, but as we move from 0 to 90 degree, the width of output voltage increases. It means as you take the average of output voltage between 0 to 90 degree, it is increasing. And see that from 90 to 180, the width of output voltage decreases. That you can see in the situation also here in this case. Here you can say the width of output voltage is this at the starting, but as you move 90 degree of a sine wave, this. So you can see that the width of output voltage increases. But as you move from 90 to 180, this width is reduced and becomes minimum here at 180. In the negative cycle, you can see that the width is increasing, but in a negative direction. You can see that in the 180 to 270 degree, from this to this, the width of output voltage is increasing, but in negative direction. And 270 to 360, it is decreasing. So you can see that the output voltage width increasing or decreasing with respect to the magnitude of the sine wave. As the magnitude of the sine wave is increasing in positive direction, the width of output voltage is also increasing in positive direction. As it is decreasing, it is also decreasing. Same way in the negative side. So if you take the average of this output voltage, it is nearer to the sine wave. It is look like this way. You can see in the theory, it is look like this way. Now understand all of you? Okay,
Yes, sir.
now, how we can check that this output contains the low harmonic? So again, we use the FFT analysis. Clear? By directly seeing this waveform, we cannot say that this waveform contains the less harmonic. We must prove this. So by the FFT analysis, we can prove it. So let's do the FFT analysis of this simulation. So run this simulation again. We want to do the FFT analysis of this voltage waveshape. Voltage waveshape in the 1, 2, 3 and 4th axis. So select the input 4 in the FFT block. Okay. Go to the power GUI toolbox FFT analysis. Select the input 4, which is your output voltage. Okay. Select the number of cycle 1. Select the 1 cycle of your output voltage. Set the frequency of fundamental. Here we set 50 Hz. And set the maximum frequency whatever you want. Okay. And see in terms of bar chart. So let's display this, and you can see that which harmonics are present in this case. Now see the magnitude of lower order harmonics. What is the magnitude? It is almost 0. You can see the 3rd order harmonic. You can see the 5th order harmonic. You can see the 7th order harmonic. It is almost 0. Yes or no? All of you understand this?
Yes, sir.
So by using this bipolar technique of sinusoidal pulse width modulation technique, we reduce the lower order harmonics. And what is the advantage of reducing the lower order harmonics? हम यहाँ पे डिस्कस करें. શું છે advantage એનો?
Size of filter circuit.
Yes, size of filter is reduced. Yes, so ultimately the cost of whole inverter is reduces. But at the same time, you can see that the magnitude of higher order harmonic is increasing. You see this peak. This is the maximum harmonic contribution, and this is the 20th order harmonic. This is a 20th order harmonic. Why only 20th order harmonic? Can anyone give me the answer? Why 20th order harmonic is maximum? What is the frequency of carrier signal we take here in this simulation? Any frequency is after carrier?
1000.
1000. What is the frequency of sine wave?
50.
50. So take the ratio of the carrier signal frequency and this reference signal. 1000 divided by 50. How much? Kilo
20.
20. Clear. So this simulating model, bipolar PWM technique, that generate the harmonics. First is MF. MF is what? Frequency modulation ratio. Means the ratio of carrier frequency to reference signal frequency. So here in this case, we take the carrier frequency is 1000 Hz and reference signal is 50. So first dominant harmonic means the harmonic which has the highest amplitude. So first dominant harmonic is MF equal to modulation ratio. So here in this case it is how much? 20. Yes or no? So that's why you get the here 20th order harmonics maximum contribution in your output voltage. Clear? Suppose if you take the carrier wave frequency 2000 Hz. So in that case, what is the dominant harmonic? If your carrier wave frequency is 2000 Hz, your reference signal is 50 Hz. So what is the dominant harmonic? Yes. So how is
40.
40th order harmonic? Yes or no? Can you check it? Check करिए आपने simulation में. How to change the frequency of triangular wave from this repeating sequence block? Here we set the 1000 frequency. Here 4000 means that 4000 is the frequency of quarter cycle. Clear? So now here we double the frequency 1000 to 2000 times. Clear? So what I write here in this case? It is 8000. Yes or no? Double than this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now this frequency is set to 2000 hertz. Let's run it again and let's do the Fourier analysis. Refresh it again. Select the fourth one. This is your output. And see the 14th order harmonic. You get the maximum. Yes or no? Why? Because you set the carrier frequency 2000 hertz. Your reference is 50. So dominant harmonic is MF, which is 2000 divided by 50. It means 14th order harmonic. So now here we prove that the dominant harmonics frequency depends upon the frequency of your carrier signal. Understand all of you? Now, again repeat, the dominant harmonic order depends upon the frequency of your carrier signal. Carrier signal means triangular signal. As you increase the frequency of triangular signal or carrier signal, the dominant harmonic frequency will increase. Clear? So as you increase the frequency 2000, 3 or 3000 hertz or 4000 hertz, the order of harmonics, dominant order of the harmonic, that will increase. Suppose you select the 3000 hertz frequency, so now you get the dominant harmonic is 16th order. Clear? So ultimately, as you increase the frequency of carrier signal, the dominant harmonic frequency is increasing. It means that you require the small and small size of the filter because frequency increases as the order of frequencies increases. Yes or no? 20th order frequency is less than the frequency of 14th order. So in the case of 2000 hertz carrier signal, you design the filter and the design of the filter, the size of LNC is small as compared to design for the 2000 kilohertz. Yes or no? ख्याल आवाज से बताना all of you understand or not?
Yes.
So here let's again set this frequency to 1000 hertz and check that what are the other dominant harmonics. What are the other dominant harmonics? Let's again do the FFT analysis. Now you get the 20th order dominant because we said 1000 hertz. Then check here. What is the other dominant harmonic? You can see here that is the 20th order. Okay. So that is the 19th, that is almost 0, and this is the 18th order harmonic. Clear? And second is here, this is 21 and this is 22. It means here you get the 20, 18 and 22 dominant harmonic. Clear? So in terms of modulation, frequency modulation ratio, it is called as MF plus minus 2. MF is what here? 20. So 20 plus minus 2 is 18 and 22. So second dominant harmonic is what? 18 and 22. And after that, MF plus minus 2. MF plus minus 2. That is this 16 and 24. 16 and 24. You can see that that is 16 and this is 24, which is the dominant harmonic. Next level, what are the dominant harmonics? In the next level, you can see that here this is the 39 and 41. 39 and 41. Because the dominant harmonic is what? 2 MF plus minus. MF is 20, so it is 40 plus minus 1. 40 plus minus 1. So it is 39 and 41. And second is 37 and 43. You can see here in this bar chart also. This is 39, this one. This is 41. This is 37. And this one is 43. Clear? Same way in the next. Here it is 60. You can see here next table is 3 mm. 3 times mm. 60. Then 3 mm plus minus 2. It means 58 and 62. 58 and 62. You can see that this is the 58 and 62. Clear? So all these harmonics are the higher order harmonic. Lower order harmonic like third, fifth, 7, 9, 11, 13 all have magnitude almost zero or very small amount. So let's check the magnitude of all these harmonic in terms of percentage. So here set the display type relative to the fundamental and this click on display. So you get the magnitude of each and every harmonic in terms of percentage with reference to fundamental component. So you say that fundamental component 50 is 100%. So with respect to this, what is the magnitude of other harmonic models? So you can see that third order harmonic is 1%, only 1%. Fifth order harmonic is 3.4%. Clear? See the 20th order H20, which is the maximum percentage contribution, 63.9. And after that, H18, it is 18th order, contribution is 29%. Then H22, that is 31%. And next level is what? 39. You can see that 39 and 41. 39 is 21% and 41 is 18%. Clear? So that you can check the percentage contribution as well as you can see in the bar chart format. All of you understand this concept? How this sinusoidal pulse width modulation bipolar technique is advantageous as compared to single and multiple pulse width modulation. You can prove here by the FFT analysis also that your output contains the less lower order harmonic. So you need to design the filter with the less value of LNC. So ultimately the size of inverter or filter is less and the cost of overall inverter becomes economical. That is the biggest advantage of using the SPWM techniques. That's why in all the practical inverters, we generally prefer this SPWM technique because of this advantage. Clear, all of you? Understand now this? Is there any doubt to anyone? Yes or no? Is there any doubt? Same way the FFT analysis shown here, which I show in the practical simulation. Clear? So in the next lab hour, we will see the unipolar PWM technique. Unipolar, this is the one technique. Bipolar, we see second technique of in this SPWM is unipolar PWM technique. And then after we compare with these techniques in terms of harmonic, and we prove that this unipolar technique is again better than this bipolar technique. We'll see that in the next lab hours. So here I stop this lab hours. I hope you understand this simulation of bipolar PWM techniques. So all of you please simulate these bipolar techniques and give me the simulation before the next lab hours. Yeah. I hope કે બધાએ last simulation કરી લીધું છે and all of you have submitted me in the Microsoft team. Clear? જે લોકોએ submit નથી કર્યું અત્યાર સુધીમાં, I will give the 0 marks for the first experiment. Clear? And that marks will be reflected in your practical exam, which is 50 marks practical exam. Clear? So please be serious and do the simulation and upload the simulation after doing this simulation of bipolar technique before the next lab session. Okay? So today I will send this assignment section of this bipolar technique simulation in which you upload the simulation of bipolar. Clear? All of you understand this? Is there a doubt to anyone?
સર
Okay. Yes.
તો જે લાસ્ટ લેબમાં તમે અસાઇનમેન્ટ કરવાના હતા એ હજી આવ્યું નથી.
શેનું
यस
assignment?
सर।
જેમાં
सर मतलब आपने
submit
कहा था
કરશો
ये
ને,
सबमिशन के लिए आप अपलोड करेंगे कुछ।
मैं assignment નથી ચાલુ.
સર
Sorry, એક જણા બોલો please. Yes.
સર તમે જે અસાઇનમેન્ટ કર્યું હતું સબમિટ કરવાનું એનામાં સર અસાઇનમેન્ટ જે અસાઇન કરવા તમારે ઓપ્શન આવે ને કે રીતના એડ ફાઇલ નથી આવતું એમ
ઓકે મેં અસાઇન નથી કર્યું છે.
ના સર
Okay, so today I will generate this assignment. Okay, today I will create this right now. So those who have already simulated, please upload the simulation of last practical today itself only. Clear? So today I generate this assignment number 1, or you can also tell as the experiment number 1. So I write experiment number 1. Clear? 10 marks for each experiment. I give the deadline today. Clear? Today deadline before 12. Clear? આજના દિવસમાં કરી દે. Clear? Now I share this assignment to you. Create.
Sir, we have to upload that model file only, na?
Yes, you upload the model file.
Okay, sir.
જોયો તમારામાં જનરેટ થઈને આવી જાય છે, ચેક કરી લેજો એકવાર. બધાને મેસેજ આવી ગયો એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ અસાઇનમેન્ટ જનરેટ થયો એકવાર ગૂગલ મીટમાં માઇક્રોસોફ્ટ ટીમમાં જોઈ લેજો.